Hey kids, let's talk about the good old days growing up in Idaho. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Growing Up in Idaho, talking about the good old days. We're currently living through a historic time in the world. This global pandemic that we're all living through, or as some might call it, the global panic, is causing a lot of drama throughout the world, and people's lives are being affected in numerous ways. Probably the biggest thing most of us will remember of this time is being consigned to our homes for long periods of time. Today, in keeping with the theme of sickness, I'm going to draw on the journal writings of Harry Hicks, who was born in 1916 in Idaho. He had his own share of illnesses as a kid growing up. You will notice as you listen to some of his words and phrases, you may not understand some of his lingo. I surely didn't. If any of you know what some of the medical terms are that he used, be sure to comment and clear it up for the rest of us. Some medical procedures in 1925, when this story took place, seemed kind of crazy to us living nearly 100 years later. Things like antibiotics are as common to us as nighttime cold syrup. But 100 years ago, the medicines we use today were not available or widely used. Let's set the scene here for this story. Harry's in the 3rd grade, and it all began when he catches scarlet fever. The year is about 1925. Here's a story. I remember the day I came down with scarlet fever. Mildred, my older sister, and I went to catch old Robin, my horse, who was out to pasture in the meadow below town in Salmon. It rained on us all day, a cold, drizzling rain. Mildred had scarlet fever before that, not too bad, and only sick for about 5 days, and then she got over it. Then I got it. The old doctor in town thought I had diphtheria, so he gave me a shot of serum in the small of my back. It punctured my back and went into one of my kidneys. The shots were new on the market, and the doctor didn't know how to give them. Not long after that, I was set upon by an attack of rheumatic rheumatism. Due to that, I lost about a half year of school. I had to be coated all over with ergophene ointment, then wrapped up like a mummy in waxed paper. That was the cure for rheumatism in those days. And I took beef iron and wine until it was running out my ears. I must say that this is the truth, as unbelievable as it may seem. I also took niter and sugar to make my kidneys work again. I used that until I reached about age 15. Like I said, I was so sick that 3rd grade year that the teacher did not pass me because I didn't get to school enough. After all this, I got sick with tonsillitis, and the doctor, as usual, made a mess of that too. My tonsils were so bad they were choking me, and I had a hard time breathing. The most horrible thing I ever went through was having my tonsils out. I think the doctor never took anyone's tonsils out before. He cut all the left side of my throat out. I went as long as I could without eating. Then it started to bleed. I vomited up a number 3 lard pail full of coagulated blood. And all this time, I was screaming with rheumatism. All the doctor did was clamp off the bleeding artery in my throat with a pair of large clamps they use on horses borrowed from Seth Matthews. They clamped my throat inside to the outside with those huge clamps, which was hung from the ceiling on wire. I tried not to swallow much, as the clamps would swing back and forth when I swallowed, hurting awfully bad. Mother tied 2 bacon cords, one to each big toe on my foot, and when I had a pang of rheumatism, I would relieve the pain by the simple purpose of creating greater pain by pulling on the cords tied to my toes. Those cords had loops in the end of each for my middle finger. After about 24 hours having the big horse clamps, the bleeding stopped, but the pain of swallowing lingered on, seemed like forever, and the rheumatism seemed like it would never end. Pulling on the cords attached to my big toes really did hurt more than the rheumatism, although I pulled both big toes off crooked and they remain that way to this day. Wow, I can't believe how much trauma that must have been for a little third-grade kid. I was sick as a kid, but I didn't have to lay in bed with cords tied around my big toes. You know, I've heard it really was a fairly common practice back in the day to devise methods to relieve pain by causing greater pain in some other part of the body. And Harry's method of pulling his toes out of their sockets proves it actually happened. In one of my previous podcasts highlighting Harry's experiences, you may remember that a few years after the episode talked about today, he came down with another illness called Bright's disease. That's some kind of a sickness, apparently, that was kind of popular back in those days. He was so sick with that illness that he remembers the angel of death coming to visit. And along with that, the undertaker in town came calling. Apparently, there was an epidemic of illness going through Salmon at that time, and most of the kids Harry's age were catching it. And many of them died as a result. Anyway, the undertaker, standing at the door, in true Monty Python fashion, told Harry's mother he was here to get her dead son. She said, "He's not dead yet." The undertaker said, "He's almost dead, and he'll be dead soon, so just give him to me now so I can save a trip." Grandma chased him away and told him not to come back. Thankfully, an old Indian woman who was living nearby went to Harry's house and told his mother that she could cure the boy. Grandma was out of options, and so she let her have him. Within a few days, laying in a sweat lodge near the banks of the Salmon River and drinking some special medicinal brew, Harry regained his health and lived. Thank heavens for that. He's my grandfather, and without that wonderful Indian woman's help, I wouldn't be here today. Thanks for listening. Growing up in Idaho, the good old days.